I am so excited because today it is my true pleasure to introduce to you Elise Arsenault, who is one of my most important mentors and certainly one of my favorites. She is a career coach and founder of The Global Actor. She's known for so many things, such as bringing focus and direction to actors' careers by helping them live where they want and work when they want. And those are her words. Through her signature online course, The Great Audiobook Adventure, Elise has truly helped hundreds of narrators, including myself, break into the audiobook industry. Her clients narrate for all major publishers, including Penguin Random House, Macmillan, Simon & Schuster. She's also an award-winning actor with roles ranging from stage to screen, and her voice can be heard on dozens of voiceover spots, including national commercials, industrials, and video games. She's also the narrator of over 130 audiobooks. And you can hear these many places, but I am thinking now of Audible. She writes for Backstage, and when she's not acting or coaching, you might find Elise rock climbing, painting, playing her cello, or playing with her partner Justin with their wonderful pup Ampersand. He is a great dog. Okay, let's get to it. So, welcome, Elise.
Thank you. It's so great to be here, Deborah. Thanks for having me.
It is so great to have you here. And welcome to all my listeners. And I want to tell you that Elise is one of my earliest and favorite mentors. And you've just been such an important mentor for me for, 3 maybe plus years now.
Yeah.
And I wanted to mention how I found out about you, which you may not even know, but I studied acting very briefly with Carrie Nacina, and she mentioned that, what was it called? The Global Summit?
Yeah, the Global Actor Summit.
Global Actor Summit. And now she's like still a mentor for IMDb and YouTube, and Carrie can just make everything look more wonderful. So, and she does have a lot of knowledge, but she told me about that. And so I listened to that, and I was just so impressed with the universe of, experts that you had around you, that you invited to that. And you can interrupt me at any time. And subsequent to that, I got into one of your power groups. And I was in your power group for, I know, at least 2 years.
Yes.
When I started, I was going to just simply be working on acting or on camera. But then I kept hearing from, I believe her name is Kim, and I know she's an audiobook narrator now.
Yes, Kim Nemi.
Kim Nemi, yes, I love Kim. And you were talking to not only her, but other people about audiobook narration and how, it could be a great side hustle, but it could also be a way for you to get out of your very joyless day job and eventually, like you did. I know you do a lot of other things too, but begin to do audiobook narration as a serious vocation. And since I had just retired from a teaching career and raising a granddaughter, and I wasn't making a compatible income yet as a working actor, I thought, well, audiobook narration would be a great idea for me. And I got into it with the help of you and Justin, your partner. And I ended up building, with your help, and especially Justin's, in that my home audio studio. And you continued to mentor me on the craft and the business of it. And that's kind of where I still am with it.
I love it. And Debora, it's so cool to find out more about how you heard about me, because that summit was probably back in 2019. That was a really, really fun event. I'm so glad you were able to catch that. And it was great to have Carrie as one of the speakers for that summit.
Yeah.
And what's been inspiring to me is watching you and your journey. And you have such great tenacity to keep going. And you're one of my clients who I've just really seen stick with it. Like, whenever you face a challenge, some people tend to stop at that point, but you keep going and you move through the challenges. And it's been really inspiring to see that.
You say that, and I think you probably need to say that a lot of times to me, because I think I'm beginning to hear that now.
Good.
Because this is something that, I know I can do it if I can just continue to be guided into it with you. And let's talk about audiobook narration and, as an income stream. And what do you say?
Yeah, I'm happy to share.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I'm happy to share. Yeah, like what my motto is at the Global Actor, which is my coaching company, is I really love to help actors live where they want and work when they want.
Trying to say, yes.
Yeah. And I came to that because I used to live in New York City. Before that, I lived in Washington, D.C. I lived in these very expensive cities. And I had this misconception that many actors do, that you must live in New York or you must live in LA full time in order to be a working actor. And it's just not true. And I had to learn that the hard way, but I'm so glad I did, because today that's more true than ever in these pandemic times.
Before the pandemic.
Yeah, I was saying that before the pandemic, and some people didn't believe me. And I didn't even always say that I was based in Providence, Rhode Island. That's where I'm based, because there was still such a misconception with casting, with producers. There was just this thing that you must be in these places, and it's just not true. In these Zoom days, in these virtual callback audition days, all the time with audiobook narration, it doesn't really matter as long as you've got a home studio and you're able to do the work and hit your deadlines. That's what matters. So I think it was really freeing for me to discover that really you're an actor if you're an actor and you're doing the thing. You don't necessarily have to be doing it in whatever way you thought you were going to.
Exactly. And that's as actors. And I have also found, and of course I know you have, that there are really, really good audiobook narrators that are not, quote, professional actors, but and they're from, Tennessee, Mississippi, whatever. But they're doing it too. And, and they're just, I know that when they finally find you, they're just like, an oasis, a community.
Community is one of my top values as a person. And I, only in recent years did I realize I had a talent in creating safe community. And I think it's because there were times in my life that I didn't feel 100% supported in this. So I had to seek out friends who were my support system around being an artist. And so I find being surrounded by supportive artists is the only way to move forward. I really think it's difficult.
You made that
difficult.
Definitely more clear for me. And I know that's true. And I know how to get away from the other kind of people, but I still need to work on the networking and the community. And I really got a sense of that with the Audio Publishers Association, what we just had.
Oh yeah, the conference, the APAC that we had last week.
Oh, I got so in touch with that. Even just the rooms. I mean, the people that were in those rooms were just, some of them were so knowledgeable and so generous. And that's one thing you've shown me, that I call it our tribe. It's becoming like a nation now.
The global actor community. I love it.
Exactly. But everyone is so generous, and they really get that what you give is what you get, and they'll share. And there's, and I've heard several actors say this, wow, this is so much nicer than the general acting community or the general music community. And I found actors were a much kinder breed just in general than the musicians, but I love musicians too, of course.
Yeah.
But having worked in both, I think this is just, and I've heard Jennifer Aquino, another narrator, say that, yeah, this is just really special. And it makes you want to give back. It really does.
I think what's so cool for listeners who may be actors and maybe you have never thought about audiobook narration as something you can do within your acting career, I do want to encourage you to think about it, because what's so cool about audiobook narration work is there's so much of it. You can only handle so many projects a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's why there's more generosity. I think there's less fear that there's only a little bit for a certain amount of people. And there is still, I mean, a lot of people do have that fear that, oh, if I share something, that it's going to be less for me. And I don't believe that at all. I believe a rising tide lifts all. And I think that there's a lot of innate fear because of the way that the industry, it has been, the way the entertainment industry has been in the past, how it has come from such a patriarchal system. So if you are not a white male, you had to be below and you had to like worship who's above you. And I am so proud of the way that we're shifting that community now, the way that the industry is shifting and we get to be a part of it. Everyone who is a part of it has a choice to make of if they want to be generous or if they want to be closed off. And I think the moment you get going with generous, you're going to attract more of the people who are generous. It doesn't mean everybody is, and that's okay. But the ones that are not, you know pretty quickly who's for you and who's not. And I think it's important to be okay that everyone is not for you, because when you are your most authentic self, when you really show the world who you are, some people are going to love it and others are not. And that's okay. You don't need everybody. You can't do every project.
No, you can't. And that's still hard for me. But also especially with the first year, the memoir portion of my podcast, that was kind of scary too. And I definitely got some pushback on that from people I knew. I tried not to, mention any names, but it's like, I knew it had to be the truth. I spoke to another mentor of mine, and he said, the only way this is going to work at all is if you tell the truth. Don't pull any punches. So I did.
Congratulations. That's so brave. That's really courageous.
And just for a second, because I really want you to go more into audiobook narration, but I thought, okay, I'll do the podcast. I'll work up some type, and you help me with this. I'll work up some type of treatment. Then I'll, send it out to people that I know of, and et cetera. I finally come to the conclusion that I'm going to write a screenplay about it. That's just kind of the way. I mean, I see it as a mini series or maybe an independent film or something, and I don't have to be in it, but I do want it written and presented well. And it's not like, I think it would be kind of hard to turn it over to someone. And there's some great writers. They would probably say, oh no, this will be easy, but that's what I'm going to do. And
I love that.
I'm working with some people that really kick ass. So
amazing.
Congrats. To do it in a different, not quite as kick-ass a way. So yeah, with audiobook narration, I want you to, if you could, to tell us how to get into it.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of people listening that don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
do this?
I'd love to share a little bit about how I found it, and then how the process that I went through myself is the foundation of what I teach today inside my signature course, The Great Audiobook Adventure.
That I want you to talk about too. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I first found out about audiobook narration, I was working professionally as a theater artist mainly. So I was doing regional theater throughout New England. I had experience from Washington, D.C. and New York. I had trained a lot. So I had a lot of theater, classical training under my belt, improvisation under my belt. And at the time, I was working often as a union theater actor. And I was like, this is so cool. Great. However, I still wasn't making a living as an artist, even though I was working the hours of a full-time artist. The payment, even the union rate, was too low for me to actually pay my bills. So I still needed to substitute teach. I still needed to wait tables. I still needed to do all of these odds and ends jobs that really were draining.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I had heard that about actors in my area who had worked at the specific regional theater who were narrating audiobooks. And that was their 9-to-5 job. So they did 9 to 5. They were going to this production company, recording audiobooks. And then at night they were performing on stage. I was like, that's it. I need to check this out, see if it works for me. And so that right there is just the beginning of the process, knowing about it and beginning to research and begin having conversations with people about it.
Right.
And so I do want to, and so from there, once I found out a little bit about who's hiring, what does the industry look like? How is it similar to the rest of the acting industry? How is it different? What does the audition process look like? What kinds of tools do I need to put together? And how do I begin reaching out and following up? Once I get the booking, how do I actually do it? So I had a conversation with a super generous narrator about this. Her name's Rebecca Gibble. So shout out Becky. And really that triggered the beginning of my career. I was really consistent about reaching out. So it wasn't like this one person handed me everything, but I did get a lot of information. Then I was like, all right, let's do it. Let me follow through. Let me follow through. Let me follow through. Let me follow through. Finally, I got an audition. That audition led to a booking. That booking led to a 4-book series. My first book was a 4-book romance series.
Was that with Tantor Publishing?
Yeah, that was with Tantor Media. And once I did that, I was just in love with it. I was like, okay, I get to play every role in this book. How cool is this? And I was getting paid in 1 week or in like 2 days what I was getting paid in union theater work in 2 weeks. So it was just a no-brainer. Okay, let's find out more about this. So for me, that was the beginning of what 7 years later is now 150 audiobooks under my belt with several different publishers now.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you do so many other things. Another thing, all you really had to have was a really good conversation with someone who really knew what they were talking about, the narrator you mentioned, because you are so organized.
I was going to say, that's not always going to work for everyone, but I love goal setting. And that's why I love putting together programs for actors.
I love it. And to think that you can do that. So, because it's important. I mean, you have to follow through.
Yeah.
And,
exactly.
And I know those areas where I'm like, oh, okay, I'm not there yet. But and you're such a wonderful example, really.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. So, yeah, you're right about the follow through. Like the fortune is in the follow through, or the funds are in the follow through. It's all true. It's all true. So if someone is interested, there's like a couple things I think you could do on your own. And then I have free resources that can be a gift for your listeners. But the first thing I recommend, if you're thinking this would be fun to read out loud for a living, whether you're an actor or you're not an actor, I would suggest, and this is probably one of the first assignments I gave you, Debora, is to read out loud for 20 minutes and see how you like it.
Yes.
And think about who you're reading to.
Yes.
Yeah. Was that one of the first things I mentioned to you?
I think it was. And I was just going to say that that an actor friend of mine was told in a class that by a casting director that she would be great in voiceover. And she said, well, I've been reading to children and grandchildren my whole life. And so after that, since she's a friend of mine, I said, voiceover, yeah. But how about audiobook narration? She knew nothing about it. And I did recommend her to you, but I haven't done the whole affiliate thing yet. So
yeah, we'll get you set up.
I don't want to get over people's heads here. So I'm going to just hush and let you continue. Because
cool.
There's so much to know about audiobook narration, although it's not impossible, and you can really make it work, and it's fun. I mean, it's a day job that's fun and you want to do.
Yeah, what I love about what audiobook narration makes use of an actor's toolkit is literally everything. I'm not kidding. So if you've had any vocal training before, you're going to bring it. If you've had physical training before, you're going to bring it, because the way I coach narration really is being in your body, really is finding the physicality of each character, so that it comes through in the vocal performance. You're going to get really good at cold reading, which is super helpful for if you're auditioning or performing on camera or on stage or whatever. Cold reading in general is such a great skill to have. And script analysis, any background you have in script analysis is really going to be put to use. And you're really going to just need to trust yourself and trust your decisions, which is that in itself is such an empowering thing. Most of this work is,
that's exactly what they want you to do in auditions. We just want to see you. There's only one you. We want to see you, and we want to see if you can make sentences and be a real person.
Yes.
And so it's kind of the same thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So much of this work is just a great opportunity for you to get to act every day. So if you're pursuing other parts of the industry and you're acting, audiobook narration will only support you. It will only support you. And there's flexibility in it. As you get going in the work and you build multiple relationships with multiple publishers, you're able to work timelines in a way for you to make this as flexible as you need it to be. So if you do have like a guest star role come up on a TV show, you can still do it. And I teach you specifically how to do that. Not everyone knows how to do that, but I really am big on, because I want you to live where you want and work when you want. I'm really big on you taking control of your schedule. So I do that through like, how do you build a project board? How do you manifest more of bringing that in really practical ways? So when I say manifest, when I say dream big, I'm also very interested in you planning really smart and not working hard without any results. I don't want you to just like do a bunch of actions that may or may not work. We're going to get right to what will work.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love, let's see, where is it? What you said, you said it took you 10 years. It didn't quite take you 10 years. What took someone 10 years, you can learn in 10 weeks with a great audiobook.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the signature process that I teach inside the Great Audiobook Adventure, I've been working in audiobooks for 7 years. So everything I've learned is in the course, but I've also had the privilege and honor to now educate almost 500 actors through the Great Audiobook process. So every time someone goes through, I get more information as well. And I keep refreshing the course and making sure it's as pertinent to today's industry as possible. So it's not going to be like an audiobook course you might have taken 10 years ago, or sometimes there are teachers that just, once they find something that works,
put it up there and there it sits. And I'm so glad you do that, because we have lifetime access to it.
Yes.
Once you purchase it, you have lifetime access to it. And it's such an encyclopedia of audiobook narration, things that you didn't even think you needed to know. Like I learned to punch and roll and built my studio, and I was ready to rock and roll. And then I remember you said to me, well, now you've done 50% of it. And I thought, what? And then after I did my prep book, I thought, oh, okay.
Now I get it.
I'm beginning to get it.
Totally. And even the prep even doing a practice book as part of the course. That's an example of a new thing I added to the course last year.
Great.
When I saw on Facebook a producer getting frustrated with newer narrators really not understanding the timeline that is expected from most publishers. So I took that in and I was like, okay, I need to make sure my narrators are ready. So I make sure you are clear on.
I saw that quote too, and I thought, oh gosh, she's leaving the business because so many narrators are not ready. And I knew they didn't come from you. I thought, wow. And so
Yeah. So whenever there's a juicy nugget that the industry is telling us, I'm going to take that and I'm going to implement that and make sure that my community is really paying attention, so that I really think of actors as running their own small business, and we all are, whether we think of it as not or not, we are. So I like to empower actors, narrators to have all of the information that you need so that you can make decisions that serve you versus just react to what's happening.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And your partner is like yourself, one of my very favorite people, Justin.
Oh, thanks.
And he's sort of he's a producer, he's a musician.
Mm-hmm.
He's your husband. Go for it.
Yeah. Justin Mara. Yeah. I'm so lucky that Justin said yes to, building the great audiobook adventure with me. And I probably never give him as many props as I should. So shout out, Justin. Thank you for everything you do.
He's so patient. Oh my God. He's so patient with newbies.
Totally. So Justin and I actually met teaching at a charter school. So that's
that.
Yeah. Wow. So we have that. We met in a place where we had really high standards. So we already were drawn to each other because we had high standards and we didn't like when things were not being handled well. So we just really were drawn to each other in that effect. And then also we were both artists. So at this charter school we were at, they were hiring artists. So everyone who was a teacher is also an artist. So I was hired as a teaching artist. I was a theater teaching artist and I directed a show, did a couple quarters at the school. And so as I was going through my audiobook process and getting more and more work, Justin was like ready to kind of be an artist full time and was like, okay, cool, let's get you there. So just as he was leaving his teaching work, we were really getting going with the Great Audiobook Adventure and building our recording studio, the Tree Cave.
At the same time, kind of.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think when we opened the Tree Cave. The Tree Cave is a full service recording studio that we opened in 2017 or 2018. And it's been a really, what we love, the term that Justin came up with is think scrappy, be brave, which is awesome. We talk about that throughout the Great Audiobook Adventure.
I love that term. Yes.
Yeah. And you can really see that in the way that the Tree Cave recording studio came to be. We've had some really exciting projects come in. For instance, Jenny Slate, who's a very popular comedic actress and indie film actress. She actually recorded her memoir, which was an Audie-nominated audiobook. And Justin actually directed it and she performed it at the Tree Cave a few years ago.
I did not know she directed.
Yes. Yes. Oh. So Justin is a director, producer, engineer. Yeah. And he's a singer-songwriter. So,
I knew that.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's really good. We've got a really great partnership going and it's been really it's been really nice to have something that we can help the world with during these pandemic times. Like as soon as the pandemic hit, it was so nice to be able to say, hey, actors, there's something you can do right now. Even though the sets are closed, even though stages are going to be closed for several months, you can still act and let's get you going. So talk about think scrappy, be brave. Justin came up with finding all of this equipment that could be assembled together no matter where you live and really at a much lower budget than is often recommended. And so now he's got so many great microphones that he recommends to people that are going to work in sometimes noisier spaces, on more affordable budgets. So it seems for him, it seems like it's really fun to just like research and do that kind of thing. He's a big tinkerer, so he likes to figure out how things work. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, this audio studio, it's built to spec, and that's because of him. And what do you call it when the publishers, they want to hear the level, the sound level? What do you call that? What do you call that?
Like the noise floor?
The noise floor. And so that always works. And I'm just always holding my breath, and I don't know why, because it works. Yeah. So basically, you can get all the support you want, guys, from this lady. And as far as the tech and the production and all of that, and even he directs like you do.
And we actually put together a big part of the audiobook adventure process is putting your audiobook demo together. And we really enjoy producing those together as well.
Yes. Yes, that was fun, and it was painless, and it was it was great, and it was done very professionally, of course. And I was sent the pickup lines like the publishers will send you, and redid them, and it was just very comfortable.
Oh, good. I'm so glad.
So guys, you can do this. I mean, if you have any inclination to do it, and I'm so busy, and you're much busier than me, but I wish I could tell. What I can do is tell actors about what you do. And do you want to talk a little bit about that affiliate program?
Well, I'll talk about like my free gift. Anybody who's interested, if you're giving this a listen and you're curious to find out more, I offer a free class. So my free class is called Narrate Your Way to Abundance. And it's an introduction to the Great Audiobook Adventure. And so you can actually go and register for that. If at the time you're listening to this, the registration is closed, you can sign up for the wait list, and we'll send you an email as soon as it opens. So you just go to audiobookadventure.com.
And I want to tell everyone that all of this you will have access to all of this after we finish.
Awesome.
And it will be up there, and you can, take your time in looking at it. But if you're kind of in a position where you're not necessarily happy with what you're doing 9 to 5 every day, or you're an actor that needs a little more income, or whatever you're doing, then take a look at this. Most people don't even know it exists. I mean, they listen to Audible, they listen to other things, but they don't think about where these voices are coming from. And they're coming from us. So, yeah. I wanted to mention also, and this is also a big part of it, the Audio Publishers Association. Can you speak a little about that? Because I wanted to talk a little bit about their speed dating and
sure,
opportunities they offer that you tell us all about.
Yeah, for sure. The Audio Publishers Association, I'm a member of, and it's really all of the major publishers in the audiobook industry. They gather, and narrators can be members of this group, editors, proofers, anybody in the industry. And Deborah's a member as well. And they have different trainings and social events where you can network with each other throughout the year. As we were saying last week, we just went to their annual conference. And then there's a couple networking events called Meet the Producers, a speed dating event where you get to present and do a pitch of who you are to all of the publishers and producers that show up. So it's definitely, once you've got some training, once you are ready to start networking, it's a good idea to check it out.
It definitely is. When opportunity is ready to meet preparation, they do a real good job. Speed dating it's a wonderful thing because, okay, you've done your training, your continual training with Elise and the Great Audiobook Adventure with Justin, and putting your studio and tech and all of that together. And then you begin to reach out to publishers, to producers, and Elise lets us know where the sources are to do that. And one of them is the Audio Publishers Association, where you can get the emails, etc. But that speed dating, it's actually a lottery, because so many people want to get into this, because how often can you get into a room to present? It's much better than an interview with a talent agent, but you basically get to tell about yourself, and they get to hear how many of your samples or
I don't know that they listen to any of the samples necessarily. The folks who are going through the applications, there's an application process that you need to go through. So you do need to upload a sample, and it needs to be industry standard. And then from there, the ones who pass whatever that industry standard spec is, they put them in the lottery.
And I've done it twice now. So I'm thinking the third time's the charm in September. And you said you had done it.
I actually did it last year. And I had been probably applying on and off for a few years. So it sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes it's right away. It depends. It's just luck of the draw.
Kudos to you for just taking off without it. We have a wonderful narrator. I'll mention Jennifer Aquino again. She got into it the first time, and she really took off. Not to take away from her talent at all, but I just want people to know that's a real special event. That's very special.
Yes.
And you know me, Elise knows me in technology, but I don't give up. I don't give up. But somehow I forgot to check or missed the Meet Your Producers. And that was a big part of the, not the conference.
The conference.
Yeah, it was a big part of the conference. And you actually get to spend time with a producer who can help you do a book. And basically everyone that signs up for that gets that. And I won't miss it again.
Yes, now.
But so I don't know, there's just a lot of opportunity, but there's so much more opportunity if you become involved with the Great Audiobook Adventure and Elise. And a more talented, generous person you won't find.
Thank you, Debora.
No, it's true. I mean, I've had bad days, and she explains to me why I'm having a bad day. And then I realized, I was just having a bad day.
Yeah, so, we all have to be a little bit more gentle with ourselves, don't we?
So I don't know, do you have a little more time?
Sure.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to talk about me for a moment.
Let's do it.
And, I don't really know where to start. I know that I have not done my first professional audiobook yet. I feel like I am ready to do it. And I know that where I am now, I think I told you I've done about 20, probably more than that now, reach outs. And in this Great Audiobook Adventure, Elise has templates for how you reach it, because I mean, I'm an English teacher, but a lot of people don't know how to create these letters. And I certainly don't know everything about it, but I mean, it's like, it is something that has to look professional. It can't be your whole life. It can't be pages, because it's an email. And now she's talking to me about, okay, are you reaching out again? And I said, yes, I am. I said, well, I need to take a look at that. And, a part of my ego self says, excuse me, I know how to do this, but obviously it's not happening. So,
right.
And it should be happening. So, so that's what we need to do. And you will learn to trust Elise. Yes.
I'm glad that you're bringing that up, Debora, because, again, what you're sharing right now is an example growth can't happen without vulnerability.
That's true.
because you must be okay letting go a little bit to say, I've actually never done this next thing before. So if someone knows how to do it, I must ask for help. Otherwise, it's going to take me 10 times as long. Do I want it to take 10 times as long and like bang my head against the wall 10 million times? Or do I want to do the vulnerable thing of asking for help?
Yeah.
And I would say, choose help.
Yes, you're right.
Even if you've learned all the other things before, if you're not getting the results you want, then what needs to happen is that road isn't working. So you've got to look and readjust and say, okay, maybe do I need to take a turn to the left a little bit more? Do I need to turn all the way like a 90-degree angle? Or is it actually working? So can I look at the data that I'm gathering? Do I know if these emails have been being opened? Have I been getting any responses?
I do know that. And you even showed us how to do that with, what's the name of the company that you
maybe
use?
Streak or Banana Tag. There's like a few different ways you can track emails.
I use, I can't think of the name of it, but I had a problem with Banana Tag. So I use no, but you can know when all of your emails are opened or when they're not.
Yeah.
And very helpful.
Yeah. It's just helpful because this part of the job is now we're turning on our marketing and sales brain, which again, whether you like that or not, as an actor, you are a small business.
Great at, yes.
So you've got to definitely invest some time and energy into that all the time on a daily basis if you want the results and you're not getting them yet. And so, we can look at if things are being opened. Great. If they are, and you're not necessarily getting response, sometimes it's a matter of just consistently reaching out, because in marketing, it's the rule of 7. It used to be the rule of 7, then it became the rule of 12. It might take 20 times for someone to see your name, because it's all about, before someone is going to hire you consistently, they need to first know you. They need to second
hire you if they don't know you.
Yes. So the first step of marketing is getting them to know you. And the way you do that is continuing to show up. And I don't recommend just one way of showing up. Debora, it's like some of it's emails, some of it's being in the Zoom rooms, like going to APAC, like you're really starting to diversify the ways that people can see you now. So it's kind of like we want to come at it in a multitude of directions. And then they get to know you. And then you give them the option to check out your materials or get to have a conversation with you, and they can maybe start to like you. And then if they know you and like you, they might give you the opportunity to find out if they can trust you. So if you are given a book offer and you deliver on time and you do your best work and it's great, then they start to trust you. So it's about that know, like, and trust. So sometimes folks can get really like, I did all the things. Okay, well, you don't stop. You got to keep doing all the things.
I know. And it's, I always pull out the baby boomer thing, but it's like, okay, I've done everything. I've sent this person 4 different reach outs, and I've varied them, but yes, I do need to show them to you. But it's like, you just have to keep going. You have to keep going.
And then there are times where maybe you just need to change up the strategy, or maybe someone does give you some information that helps you readjust your materials or whatever.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. But let me be bullheaded as I am and ask you, can I also add 2 more samples? I know you said you didn't think I needed to do that, but since there are 2 more genres I could throw in there, not that I think that's the problem, but
that can be a part of, continuing to grow your portfolio is definitely something you can do. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's just so great spending time with her.
You too, Debora.
And you still have your power groups, right?
I do. I'm down to just 1 group, and I'm not sure how long I will be doing that for, because as the global actor continues to grow, we're starting to build out our team, and we've got community mentors now. And so
you do.
I've got a couple of main offerings. So if someone's just coming to me, I point them first to the Great Audiobook Adventure. Then another offering is Momentum Club. And that's a way to get consistent coaching from me on almost a weekly basis. We're adding industry expert interviews
I know, I'm so
this
excited
month.
about that.
Yeah. And at the Global Actor, we do all sorts of events. We do challenges. Sometimes we do clubhouse events with authors and narrators.
Oh, Clubhouse. That's wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're on Clubhouse, definitely come over and check out the Global Actor Lounge every Friday. And depending on when you listen to this, hopefully we're still doing it. We've been doing it for like a year now. But every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, we celebrate. And everyone is invited to just come in and join the room and celebrate the small ways you showed up for yourself, the big successes or small successes, whatever, whatever you want to share, whatever you want to celebrate. And that's really important to me because this career can get draining if we don't acknowledge the success that we've already had. So the only way we can get more success is to acknowledge. We can't build upon the success that we don't acknowledge. So that's what we do every week in the Global Actor Lounge
at Clubhouse. And I know there's some listeners that say, what is Clubhouse? Because it's still not known by a lot of people, but there's, I would say I can count on both hands the rooms that are really great. Maybe that's just me because I don't know all the rooms, but yours is one, and there are others. And so check out Clubhouse. Do you still have to be invited by?
No, I think you can just join now. Yeah.
Okay, so there's no wait list. Okay.
Right. And you can,
it's an app, and it's really great. And on the Global Actor Lounge, everyone listens to everyone. And it's initially kind of scary on Clubhouse to hear yourself talk suddenly, even, those of us that are actors and narrators. But then you get to know this community, this tribe. And Elise is definitely there to moderate, so it never gets negative. It never gets negative. And if it does, if you do have what we call a thorn, something happened during the week that kind of threw you off, we get each other back on track with her lead. So it's just a wonderful thing. You just got so much going. I don't know how you have time to, to eat, see your husband, but you do. And can we do this again?
Sure. Yeah, I love that.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Debora. I really, really appreciate it.
It's been great. And there will be all sorts of mention of the free gifts that you mentioned. Did you want to say anything more about them?
Yeah, sure. So I shared about audiobookadventure.com. That's to get to my free class. If you're just curious in general about voiceover, you could check out my voiceover starter kit. And that will outline some of the equipment that you might consider getting. So it comes with a 8-part video series and a PDF of a guide to really get started. And then if you're interested in that and you want to keep going, you'll get some links on how we can stay connected. So the link for that is bit.ly/VO starter kit. And I know Debora's going to link to that as well.
Yeah, you will get that also. Okay. And this has just been a blast. And give Justin my best. And
I will. Thanks, Debora.
You're just a little family. It's so cute.
Thanks so much.
Okay, so I will see you soon.
Great.
Okay? And love you guys. Bye.